Ladies and gents, what does the utopian work life look like? It's hard to imagine, but I imagine that it's freedom from the daily grind of meeting obligations and expectations to others. I imagine that it's freedom from the chasing of more money. Now that probably sounds like a utopian fairyland. So is it real or just an elusive dream? I believe the utopian work life is far more achievable and much closer than we realise. I believe the utopian work life is volunteering. Volunteering lets you do what you want and when you want and where you want. Volunteering is richly rewarding, emotionally, socially, intellectually, and it rewards you in ways that you don't understand. There are so many benefits to volunteering, and volunteering fits naturally and comfortably into whatever your work life looks like today. In 2007, I was living in Charters Towers with my wife, who was pregnant with the third of our 4 children. So I've got a few responsibilities at home. I was pastoring a youth group, I was a school chaplain in 2 high schools, and I was running a youth recreational centre, which, to be honest, was just cover for running the ultimate man cave. It was awesome, a whole lot of fun. You could say it was the dream job. Life was full, it was rewarding, but I do remember being hungry for more. More success, more influence, more fulfilment. Through my connection in the local church, an opportunity came up to go to Tanner Island in Vanuatu and do some construction work. And I thought to myself, I can swing a hammer. I can go to a tropical island in the Pacific and leave my responsibilities at home. I mean, do some construction work to build churches that provide communal spaces in villages and provide clean drinking water. Sure, sign me up. So I arrived with my team in Vanuatu, and we would wake early in the mornings and we'd all pile into the back of the work ute. There were a few utes on the island, most of which ran around as taxis, and you would jump into the back with no more than a good hand grip to hold you in. But there we were, ready to go get stuff done, ready to go change the world. Slowly, one by one, our island friends would emerge from around us in the rainforest. And I remember thinking, we could get so much more done if we just got away a little bit earlier. But we would get away, and the first job of the day was to stop in at the local petrol station, which was no more than a timber structure and cane walls housing 44-gallon drums of fuel. And we would be served by children using a hand pump and a jerry can. I remember saying, just fill her up, we're going to be here for 2 weeks, because all we would get is 4 or 5 litres every morning. Finally, we would arrive at the construction site and work would get underway. But then it would be morning tea time, and that's followed by lunch, a fully hot cooked meal with all the village coming together, fresh lobster every day, how good was that? And some days the scenery was amazing, sitting on a beachfront watching whales swim by, and the next day sitting on a mountaintop with breathtaking views. It was amazing we accomplished anything at all. Was this the utopian work life? Through it all, though, I learned some very valuable lessons. I unleashed carpentry skills that still surprise me to this day. And this photo sits on my desk as a constant reminder that I can achieve much more than I initially think. I started to understand the value of doing things together, rather than just doing it myself to get it done. And I caught a glimpse of what it was like to live in a shared community. You see, the reason we only got 4 or 5 litres of fuel each day was because it would be wrong of us to have a stockpile of fuel when that fuel ran out while everybody else went without. I gained a fresh perspective on time, and I even came home and drove slower, at least for a little while. And it was because I understood that what didn't happen today could always be done tomorrow. Volunteering was the utopian work life that I didn't even know I was looking for. So much so that 12 months later, I was back on the same island with a group of teenagers, hoping that they too would have the same life-changing experience. I know that we made a difference in Vanuatu, but in comparison, I feel like I gave this much, yet received this much. I continue to put myself into new contexts and new worlds because I want to keep growing as a person and having experiences like this. And so volunteering is a great way to do that. In fact, that's why I'm standing here on this stage speaking to you about this idea. And again, the people I've met, the lessons I've learned, and the opportunity, all because I volunteered. You see, volunteering may appear to leave you with less than what you start with, but volunteering is a return of your investment. And as you give your time, you will meet new people. You'll build some great friendships, and you'll even expand your professional network, and perhaps maybe meet the love of your life. And what better place to do that? You'll build new skills, or you'll refine existing skills inside of a new context. And while you're doing all of that, both your mental and your physical health will benefit as well. Now, volunteering will cost you something. It will cost you your time. It will cost you efforts. It may even cost you money. Volunteering will not leave you empty-handed, though. The benefits of volunteering may not be tangible, but the rewards are very real. Now, we need to get this the right way around. We don't give to get. That would be like the proverbial horse behind the cart, pushing and striving. But rather, the benefits of volunteering are a natural byproduct as we give. In the words of Zig Ziglar, you can have everything you want in life if you'll just stop and help others get what they want. Volunteering Australia says that volunteering is time willingly given for the common good without financial gain. I'd like to paint 4 work-life scenarios for you now, using 2 of the key elements in that definition, those being willingness and financial gain. You see, every journey has both a starting point and an end point. And it's important to know what our work life looks like today if we're going to travel towards the utopian work life. And so as I share these scenarios with you, I encourage you to identify what your work life looks like today. Scenario 1, you're doing some tasks which you're unwilling to do, and there's no financial gain. Now, when I say unwilling, it's not that you're forced to do these things, but rather there's an obligation to do them. An obligation to someone else, perhaps social expectations, or even an obligation to yourself. Now, you don't get paid for doing these things, they're just expected of you to be done. These are called responsibilities. You might also call them housework, mowing the lawn, adulting, parenting. Is anybody else relating with this scenario? Scenario 2. You are unwilling to do some tasks, and this time there is a financial gain. Now, like before, it's not that you're being forced to do these things, but rather there is an obligation to someone else with which you've got an agreement to do set tasks for a set reward. If you don't do the tasks, you don't get paid. This is called work. So we have responsibilities and we have work. The third scenario, you're willing to do some tasks now, and this time there is a financial gain. So when I say willing, let's call this or define this as being a great enthusiasm and passion for what you do. In fact, you jump out of bed in the morning and you say, I can't believe I get to do this, and I get paid for doing it as well. This is called the dream job. So we have responsibilities, we have work, and we have the dream job. In the fourth scenario, you're now willing to do some tasks, and this time there is no financial gain. Like before, when we say willing, you jump out of bed with great enthusiasm and passion for the thing that you get to do, and this time, no financial incentive is required. You already guessed it, this is volunteering. Volunteering is the utopian work-life experience. Volunteering is doing things that you're passionate about, not out of obligation. Volunteering is doing things because you want to, not because you need a reward. Volunteering is the utopian work-life experience. So what does your work life look like? Was it a mix of more than one of these scenarios? Somewhere in life we've subscribed to this thinking that we need to be responsible, work hard, and do that for a long time and put together all our savings. If we're lucky, land the dream job, and then one day we can do what we want, otherwise known as retirement. But these scenarios are not sequential steps to be taken in order throughout life, but rather they're scenarios that we all do at the same time in different degrees throughout life. In fact, to leave volunteering on the bucket list for one day in the future would only be shortchanging ourselves of the utopian work life that we can experience today. I can hear you thinking, great idea, Shane, but I haven't got time to volunteer. I've got to work. I've got bills to pay. I've got 4 kids at home that I'm responsible for. But this is the great thing about volunteering, that you're the boss. You volunteer when you want, where you want, and how you want. If you only have an hour or 2 a week or a month or even a day or 2 a year, that's okay. If you don't want to do mundane and repetitive tasks, that's okay too, because you get to do what you're truly passionate about. Do you want to save the reef? Do you want to help people heal from trauma? Or do you want to put a smile on the face of others? You can do this and so much more. Did you know that here in Townsville, you can volunteer to ride a trishaw, which is a 3-wheeled bike specially designed for helping our elderly residents get outside? You sit on the back and pedal, they sit on the 2 seats in the front, feeling the wind in their face and looking at our beautiful beach fronts. Come on, break out your sporting clothes and volunteer. Or would you rather use your professional skills? Why not take a not-for-profit leader out for lunch once a month and share with them from your professional experiences? Or maybe you'd like to volunteer from the comforts of your own home, anywhere in the world. This is called virtual volunteering. There are literally hundreds of diverse volunteer opportunities with a quick internet search in your local area. And there are even more volunteer opportunities with organisations you're already connected with. If you were to say to your school, your sporting club, or your social group, hey, I'm really passionate about doing this and I'm free at this time, I have no doubt that they'll have you signed up as soon as practical. We all have responsibilities, but what if we volunteered as a family and created shared memories together while volunteering? We all need to work, but what if we volunteered while we work through a corporate volunteering program? And we'd all love the dream job, but why wait for the economy to be just right before you launch out and do that thing that you're so passionate about? Instead, volunteer. Volunteering is the utopian work-life experience in and of itself, but volunteering might also be the thing that helps you meet your responsibilities, enjoy your work, and unlock your dreams. I trust that you're seeing volunteering in a fresh new way. And with this fresh perspective, can I ask you again, what does your utopian work life look like? What will your volunteer story be? As you begin the search for a great volunteer opportunity, you'll hear the call-outs and you'll see the signs, volunteers needed. But remember, it's not so much that they need you as much as you need them. Whatever your work life looks like at the moment, you can experience the utopian work life today. You don't have to work harder, you don't have to earn more money, you don't have to catch a lucky break, just volunteer. And it doesn't matter what age or stage of life you find yourself in right now, it's not too late, and you don't have to wait. Please don't wait. volunteer. The utopian work-life experience that you and I are looking for is real and it's within your reach. The utopian work-life experience is volunteering.